Hey everybody, it's Galmadex and welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we're going to be playing a quick draft of Tarkir Dragonstorm. Without further ado, let's get into the pack one, pick one. Several reasonable options here. We got two monocolor removal spells like Dragon's Prey and Osseous Exhale that leave us nice and open early, but also some pretty powerful monocolored creatures, the Dragon Sniper and the Sarkin Dragon Ascendant being the strongest first picks there. There's also the Tri-Land if you really love forcing the 4-color, 5-color kind of nonsense piles, which are really strong in the format, so I think it is a justifiable way to draft this set, is just grabbing a Tri-Land right off the bat. But I like variety's sake. I like variety, so for variety's sake, I don't really want to just force 4 or 5-color every single time. So I'm going to start with Sarkin Dragon Ascendant here. 2 mana, 2/2. We can behold a dragon when we play it to get a treasure token, and whenever a dragon enters, it gets buffed up and gets extra damage. So Sarkin, really nice, cheap, rare for any deck with a good amount of dragons. And our second pack has a pretty reasonable follow-up. If we just want to start with just cheap, aggressive rares in red and black, we could do some kind of Mardu deck here. Really low to the ground with this Avenger of the Fallen. Doesn't seem bad at all, but these uncommons are all fantastic, so I think all three of these really can compete with Avenger of the Fallen for the slot here. This is a format where we are based around enemy color clans, so red and black are technically allied colors, so there aren't going to be any multicolored cards that are exactly red-black. There's red-white-black cards, but no two-color red-black multicolor spells at common or uncommon or rare or anything, so you would rather be in red-white or red-blue as your two-color core, but I still think Avenger of the Fallen is strong enough here to speculate on that. Pick 3 has a lot of great options in the Mardu direction. We have Mardu Devotee, which plays so much better than it looks. It's one of very few playable 1-mana creatures to get your curve started in your aggressive deck, scries to set up your draws, and fixes your mana, which is incredibly important for the more aggressive deck because you really need to play on curve and keep the pressure on your opponent. So being able to consistently cast everything up the curve is great with a card like Mardu Devotee to help us splash in the black if we're white-red at the core, or the red if we're white-black at the core, and still have our splash mana early in the game because this is a 1-drop. So really do like the Mardu Devotee. I think it's so much better than it looks, to where it is genuinely competing with other cards that look so much stronger up front, like Gurmag Rakshasa, big top end card. It's hard to block, it buffs the board, it clears out a blocker. Furious Forebear is a really efficient threat that keeps coming back from grave. Frontline Rush is really cheap and flexible. I think all 4 of these are really great options. I have been kind of unimpressed by the Bolt Caster, though. In theory, it works great with all your mobilized cards because they block and then you just kill anything, but you need to curve out so much in the kind of aggressive decks that you're playing with the Bolt Caster that often you're going to be playing it early on a turn where they just haven't blocked anything anyway, or whatever they blocked would just immediately trade it off. So in my experience, this is one of the cards very opposite of Mardu Devotee, where it plays so much worse than it looks. Not that it's completely unplayable, but it's just not anything exciting. So yeah, I think Devotee, Frontline Rush, Rakshasa, and Forebear are all reasonable picks, but I'm going to take Devotee really highly here. Now for pick 4, we get a Caustic Exhale for really efficient removal, or Storm Singer's a great card. Top of your aggressive curves when you've got a lot of mobilize going on, every creature dying is draining your opponent for life. Caustic Exhale or Dragon's Prey even, definitely the safer pick, because if we do end up splashing around and playing a much later game mid-rangey sort of deck, this is going to play really, really well as our early defense, but it's also still really good if we're aggressive, clearing stuff out of the way. Pick number 5, now we can grab a Furious Forebear, and that's perfectly fine. Pick number 6. Nothing great going on here on color, but the blue counterspells in this format are actually pretty good. Dispelling Exhale and Spectral Denial. They're pretty awkward starting in white and black primarily, but if we go like white, red, blue towards Jeskai, these could be pretty good options. I don't think they're good enough to speculate with us being like 2 cards deep into black here. It's just kind of awkward to be heading towards blue, so I'm just going to take Narset's Rebuke. Pick 7, Evolving Wilds, fixing for any deck we end up in. It's perfectly fine. Pick number 8, the Exhale and a Dawnbreaker here. Still in this pack. That's really nice to see. I think I overvalue the Dawnbreaker a bit because I instinctually want to take it here over the Osseous Exhale, but this is very good removal. 5 damage for only 2 mana. The downside, of course, is when you're playing it in an aggressive deck, you don't get to cast it before attacks to clear out their blocker, but it's still really good. Pick number 9, Jeskai Devotee is fine. Evolving Wild's also fine. Take the Wilds. Pick number 10. Very mediocre pack here. Take a Boulderborn Dragon in case something really weird happens and we end up in like Jeskai with the card that can tutor this out. It's pretty fun. Oh, there's the Dragonstorm Globe to go with that card too. If we get to go in that direction. Temur Devotee. Spectral Denial. Yeah, some good blue late towards Jeskai. Alright. Open up the strongest colorless mythic, hopefully of the whole year. If a stronger one shows up, it's going to be a huge grown test because Ugin's insane. 7 mana, exile any target, gain 3 and draw a card every turn from that point on. Already incredible, but if you're running any other colorless cards like Dragonstorm Globes and stuff, if you top deck those are also removal spells. Ugin's fantastic. And what is a little bit awkward here is that if I did want to be that pure Mardu aggro start like we were speculating on early, we wouldn't be in the market for a 7 mana bomb rare that much because it's so expensive. But these late speculations towards Boulderborn Dragon and Dragonstorm Globe could give us a deck with a lot of colorless spells to go with the Ugin, a lot of ramp to go up into the Ugin, and we did get the Dragonstorm Forecaster now to be able to tutor out our Mana Rocks and our Boulderborn Dragons and work our way towards Ugin, while also just being a really nice combo together. Just getting this with some +1/+1 counters on it is a great flying threat, so really happy to see Dragonstorm Forecaster here, now headed towards the Jeskai direction instead of Mardu ideally, but we may splash in a Caustic Exhale still. Pick number 3 now. There's just another Caustic Exhale and not too much else. If we draft a million dragons, Breaching Dragonstorm can be fun, because you can play it, flip cards off the top. If the first thing you flip is a dragon, boom, you cast that dragon and put the Dragonstorm back in your hand. So it's pretty fun, but it's very high variance. I mean, I've got like 1 dragon right now, and I don't know that we're going to be a super dragony deck. Obviously, Sarkhan does like them, but I think I'm just going Caustic Exhale, just consistently great removal. If we are splashing any black or playing any black here. Pick number 4 shows us another Mardu Devotee, which helps fix in the exhales here. And it's good white-red fixing. But there's also the Stormbrood to go with Sarkhan, which is definitely nice. It's a solid blue-red card. In general, towards Jeskai, I think I'm on Stormbrood. Pick number 5, there's that Jeskai Devotee now. There's also a Rally the Monastery, though, which is really flexible. Solid removal against the big, scary late-game threats. I think Rally's too good to pass up there. Very good top left of this pack. Stormplane Detainment for removal, Equilibrium Adept for creature plus draw, Kishla Trawlers for creature plus pickup and exhale. This is really good if you get a lot of exhales, a lot of the 2-mana instant sorcery-based removal spells. Our removal might be a little expensive for this card, but Rally, we can pick up a Rally and that'll guaranteed be only 2 mana alongside it. It's not the greatest with the rebukes, but I think the rest of our removal, the Trawlers, looks really nice, so I'm going to take that here. Pick number 7. Not a super exciting pack at all. We'll just take a Shock Brigade, I suppose. A little sad. No Boulderborn Dragons or Dragonstorm Globes were seen at all this entire pack. That's a bummer. Here's a Mardu Devotee. Pick number 9. Oh, there we go. There was a Dragonstorm Globe in the Ugin pack, so I guess we do wheel that. Pick 10. Dispelling Exhale's a good counter. I think we're actually becoming blue, red, splash, white at this point. Yeah, I maybe shouldn't have taken that Mardu Devotee that highly, considering white is no longer looking like a main color of this deck we're going to have on turn 1 very often at all. Riverwalk Technique's super playable. Okay. Pack 3, pick 1. If this could tutor out an Ugin, I would draft this. But technically, Ugin is not a dragon card, so no Maelstrom there. We've got Sibsig Appraiser. Excellent, excellent card. 2 for 1 creature and draw spell at the same time. I'm probably just going to take that because I love me some value stuff, but the cheap removal also works really great with the Trawlers and helps defend ourselves. The Osseous Exhale and the Dragonfire. The Wingblade Disciple's great if you can get those double spells going. Although I'd like to up our mana curve a bit and start playing some more big dragons to go with these Dragonstorm Globes, which is a little contradictory to flurrying with the Wingblade Disciple. But I do think these are the best picks. Appraiser, Exhale, Dragonfire, Disciple. I'm just going to take Appraiser. I'm super high on this card. Pack 3, pick 2. Just a black dragon, sadly. We'll just take the blue-red duel, I guess. Pack 3, pick 3. Another black dragon. Well, there's a Stormbrood this time, at least, for an on-color dragon. Pick number 4. Dawnbreaker for a white dragon or Urza's Rebuff. I think this is probably too good to pass up the double bounce spell off a single card. Very good tempo. Another Dragonstorm Forecaster. That's fun. Scoop that up. Pick number 6. Another Dispelling Exhale. I don't really have any dedicated card draw in this deck outside of our Sibsig Appraiser, I suppose, so I don't think I'd really mind the big 6-mana draw 3. That would be fine. There's also that Channel Dragonfire. How good am I at killing resolved threats? I have Osseous Exhale, but then I have a counterspell, a bounce spell. Rally can kill something resolved. The Rebukes can kill something resolved. I don't think I have a lot of cheap removal for resolved stuff. Dragonfire is really nice with double globe. 1-mana removal spell is playing really well with this. To play the globe plus the Dragonfire in the same turn. I'm going to take the Dragonfire here. Pick 7. No Dargons. Blue-black duel for our Caustic Exhales or Pretty Filler Embermouth Sentinel. I guess we've got 4-mana dragons. If we get one of those on board, this is great ramp. But otherwise, this card's real weak. Just speculate on Dismal Backwater. Pick 8. Now Bloodfell Caves as well. I don't really want to run Equilibrium Adept in an Ugin deck, just because the risk of exiling Ugin off the top of this thing is bad. Alright, we got the Wingblade Disciple back. We'll try that out. We'll take a Spectral Denial as well. Alright. Just make a couple swaps around this deck. And Jeskai Ugin ramp control. Just play a bunch of Dragonstorm Globes, try to get to an Ugin, survive off a bunch of cheap removal and counter spells to buy us the time. Like the plan. We are pretty much a control deck here, so we take out the cards that are just decent little early attackers and stuff. I just don't care. So that's Shock Brigade out for sure. And these devotees are just blue-red fixing, and I've got a bunch of cheap removal that I'm playing on the early turns instead of cheap creatures, so I think I'm okay to cut down the cheap stuff even here. Enough cheap interaction, probably cut like one Riverwalk Technique is slightly more expensive. One random like big serpent or something. Yeah, this looks pretty fine to me. Very, very high on interaction. Just stop all of our opponent's important plays until we play something really important. Try to win off of that. Could also try to get some Stormbrood kills with all these non-creature spells. Get an extra damage in, which is pretty cute. Yeah, looks like a pretty fun Jeskai Splash Black control deck here. We'll call it a deck there, hop into the gameplay, and see how it does. Alright, here we are on the draw for game number 1. Don't love being on the draw here. Our counterspells get much worse. There's Sultai Monument to set up their mana here. Two white spells. I only have one red spell if I do manage to counter something with the Stormbrood. I think that I'm evolving Wildsing for white here. Okay, luckily our 0/3 blocks that forever. Alright, perfect. Draw the red source, so we're fine. If they cast anything good, we'll counter it. If they don't, then we will tutor up a globe. Can't counter unless they pay to. That's frustrating. Also makes that big enough to attack into Forecaster. Well, that lined up incredible for our opponent. But it is still a 1-for-1. Play draw differential coming in hard. Globe. These spectral denials are really bad now when they're revealed. Is it greedy to just pick up another globe here? Like, maybe a little bit. But I'm gonna do it anyway. Yep, just crack the monument because they know we got counters. The 3/2 is the only one that I can't bounce off of here. But I can only bounce off of one of these a turn, so it might have still been better to kill a 2/2. I'm just gonna put that back in hand and recast. Is that the best they got this turn? Sure. It feels good. You're just sitting on a bunch of removal or something? Here's my big boy. They go wide here because they know we have a bunch of removal. But I think because... Oh, never mind. I was going to say, I think because we have a bunch of removal, this is fine to let it resolve. Prefer not to have to cast a counterspell here, but I have a bunch of them to make sure that this resolves if I need to. Cool. Awkwardly, I'm not doing anything with this 3 mana because I have nothing left in the deck to pick up with Forecaster. That would be funny if the Forecaster could pick up another Forecaster. Be cute. I guess maybe I have enough counterspells here to just get some monks. For blocks. Sarkhan's definitely not like good here, but he's not terrible. Our opponent's also on their own 4-color soup over there. Green, blue, black, white. So Obzon, Sultai. They just pass through. We might just get there off a single Boulderborn Dragon, honestly. With all the counterspells to protect it. I wouldn't be surprised. Here's my 1-mana 2/2. 2 swings and they're dead. Armament Dargon with 3 mana up. So we say counter unless they pay 4. And I still have Dispelling Exhale up. Alright, there's the concession from our opponent. They are over it, and we are 1-0 off of just Dragonstorm Forecaster plus counters and removal. Let's go. Alright, here we are on the play for game number 2. We got some mana risks here. Not having a blue source, because I'm definitely cracking Evolving Wilds for this Caustic Exhale. If our opponent's an aggressive deck, we will have issues surviving Telugin, but if they are one of these slower, splashier decks, we're going to have a great time when we get there. Corroding Dragonstorm, sure. Lose 2, they gain 2, they surveil 2. Alright, still no blue source drawn here, and more blue spells is awkward. Exile the Brigade. Alright, well now we're 1 land draw away from Narset's Rebuke at least. It could be any land in the deck. Come on, any land in the deck. Let's go. Blue source is even better. I've got no creatures in my grave for the Trawlers. Do not love that. I think I'd take a hit here. to have Spectral Denial up. If we're really lucky, they cast something expensive enough. Oh boy, this is gonna be a turn. I was gonna say, if we're really lucky, they cast something expensive enough to counter with Spectral Denial and Rebuke in the same turn. Beautiful stuff. Here's the Boulderborn Dragon. Well, dude, I'm one land draw away from Ugin now. I don't think I play this dragon. I was thinking I'd play this dragon so that, like, if they kill it, I've got something engraved for the trawlers, but if I just keep it for after an Ugin, beautiful. Beautiful. We'd love to see that. Now there's something engraved for trawlers. Anyways, if I keep it around for Ugin, then I obviously have double removal there. I think a revealed counterspell is significantly worse, so it might be worth just taking Rebuke here. Kills bigger stuff than Caustic Exhale. Earth Carver. Another removal spell? Sure, you got it. Evolving Wilds, there's that. Ugin mana. Gonna have to wait a turn though. Take 2 from this Earth Carver. Play a Pack Beasts. I want to make sure they have nothing left on board the turn that I cast Ugin, so that Ugin isn't at risk of taking damage unless they draw a haster. Alright. There's the concession from our opponent. Ugin handedly takes the game from there. We're already up a card in hand. Activate Ugin, we're up another card. And then it would be really brutal once we cast Boulderborn Dragon against their next threat. That is 2-0 heading into game 3. Alright, well, another Ugin game here. Pretty happy with that every time, obviously. Really good mana with this opening hand. Playing against a white deck, that can be some of the more aggressive archetypes, the Boros stuff, Mardu and Jeskai. Could be pretty scary for us here. Luckily, we are on the play. We do have a early blocker, so shouldn't be in the world if they are somewhat aggressive. But if they're a really good aggro deck, we're definitely dead. Alright, Fortress Kingguard, welcome. Welcome to the board. Ooh. You know what's pretty cute? Playing a forecaster with his globe. The best friends. Don't do it. Don't shoot my poor forecaster. If I can activate this forecaster twice, so that I have the globe to get to the Ugin mana, and then I also have the Boulderborn Dragon, that'll be awesome. I kind of have to block here because it's a completely free bluff. But if they do have the shoot for 2 or the shoot for 5, then I am sad. Okay, they don't. Or at least they don't cast it. Wingblade Disciple is terrifying. I don't enjoy that. Okay, I need to hold 2 mana up here. So we play our own Wingblade Disciple, and then I have 2 mana up to counter 1 thing or pick up 1 globe. Molten Exhale, I can't counter that. They have too much mana up. It's cheap enough they could flurry here as well, which would be really bad. Okay, no flurry. That's lucky. Well, I'm gonna get to the globe, or I'm gonna get to the Ugin pretty soon. The problem is if I get to Ugin without any backup, it's gonna not even be that impressive. I have to defend Ugin, but we are drawing creatures to defend him, which is good. Okay. I'll take one more hit here to hold up the counter and pick up the other colorless spell to go with the Ugin, I think. Well, yeah, I just counter anything they cast to affect the board this turn instead of playing one blocker this turn. Because if I could just counter what they play here and make sure that their board is just whatever it currently is, then I Ugin, kill the 2/2 flyer, and they can hit Ugin for like 1 max. Yeah, this is so fine. Wonderful card for us to see here. That worked out really well because I also get to hold up the mana to tutor out the colorless dragon to go with Ugin. Still would have been bad for me if they like went for the flurry that turn. So we're really happy they've just drawn a bunch of expensive stuff in their hand here. All right, we know what we're doing. Eugene!
Fools have sowed discord, and they focus, breathe, and learn.
If they've got a removal spell that can hit a planeswalker, I'll be pretty sad. Otherwise, I think we can win with the Boulderborn Dragon in hand alongside Ugin. I mean, both of these dragons are really large with double globe out. But the colorless one also exiles something the turn we cast it.
Do not bring chaos here.
Clarion Conqueror. I can't activate Ugin now. Okay, perfect top deck. Not perfect, it doesn't kill the Conqueror. But it does let me activate Ugin. Oh, wait, hold up. Triggered abilities still activate. Yeah, this is a triggered ability. I'm fine.
Fate flows as easily as water. My plan bears fruit.
The dragons are here. Dragonologists, our opponents digging for their own. Instant sorcery or dragon. Off the top, they grab Rally the Monastery. That can blow up one of our 2 dragons, sadly. And I can do it right now for only 2 mana. One of the current concerns that I have with this deck is like if our opponent does kind of call us on our bluff a little bit with Ugin, it's not even like a bluff for the thing that they would think they're calling us on their bluff, but like if they play it out and like kill these 2 dragons, I don't have very many threats in this deck. I could just mill out. It's 100% possible. Could just mill out for not having enough ways to actually damage our opponent. Yeah, I mean, I genuinely only have like 1 more threat in the deck. Just 1 more Storm Brood. So I really gotta draw another counterspell to protect this Boulderborn. Well, there we go. We've got the counterspell to protect it. Feels good. Then another land out to make it more likely to hit these spells first. Rally the Monastery is not a bad spell. Keep that. Rebuff bounces creatures only. So I can't like bounce a globe to recast it or anything awesome like that. I could bounce and recast our Boulderborn Dragon if we want to permanently exile something. Do that main phase 2. We've got enough mana at this point. So that's worth keeping in mind. So we let any threat that they cast resolve unless it's just insanely bad. We just save the counterspell for anything that could kill the dragon. Because I have so few threats in this deck. I need this one to stick around for 3 more turns to get the win.
Focus. Breathe. And learn.
Sigurd Praise of our own is not bad. Strike Master could kill our Boulderborn Dragon, but it doesn't have haste, so I'm just going to rebuff it the next couple turns to save our counterspell for something that immediately kills the Boulderborn Dragon. Okay. Caustic Exhale. Okay, I can use that instead now, instead of the rebuff. They only have 6 lands on board. Can Appraiser and still have counter unless they pay 6? Yeah, we're fine to do this. There's Trawlers for a counter spell. Flying lifelink. They've got 1 single mana left to kill this. Yeah, I count that. I mean, it's not technically lifelink, but it gains 5 when it hits the board, so we won't lethal them in 1 swing if that resolves. Even if I do immediately kill it. Alright. There's the concession from our opponent. We are 3-0, riding the back of Ugin a little bit here, but also the Forecasters. Forecasters have played consistently well, and we even won a game just with the Forecaster combo with no Ugin. So great stuff from the deck. At least a 50-50 run at worst here, heading into round number 4. Here we are on the draw for game number 4. Slow start again. One of our deck's biggest weaknesses and worries is the slow starts. Luckily, we haven't really run up against the great kind of Boros aggro stuff. It's been particularly fast or anything. It's a good draw. Now I've got a castable spell here. I think I'll just be mana efficient if they try to do anything. Yeah. Counter that. It's a spell, so it's getting countered. Now I can go Globe plus Rally next turn potentially to trigger Disciple if they play a big creature, and they are teamers, so they could play just a 4-mana 4/4 here. Hey, 4-mana 5/4, same difference, works for me. Flurry time. And I got some problems. We need to draw some spells pretty fast, because Teamer has plenty more big creatures than that. I can blow up 1 more of them, but then they're just going to have a bigger board than me, potentially be getting in for a bunch here. Okay, solid draw. Yeah, flurry and keep the pressure on. We definitely got to outrace Teamer if we don't draw into our big Ugin or one of the forecasters for a bunch of value. Because Teamer has really strong late game plays and this hand does not right now, so. Just try to kill them before they get too much more mana here. There it is. There's the Earth Carver to stop us in our tracks here. Big old 7/7 body, and we are flooding. Chump attack to put them down to 5, or just hold off here. Losing the Stormbrood to do it is painful. I think we just hold. Yeah, this is the problem. Now here comes the Vanguard to try to outrace us. That's going to be their attacker while the Earth Carver holds us off. I don't even think I cast this, considering I could draw an Ugin for it, and it doesn't do anything right now. It's just more mana when we're already flooded. I mean, I guess it triggers the Stormbrood, but that doesn't matter unless I can get the Earth Carver out of the way. Yep, Vanguard's kind of a nightmare. I think I have to just take it. I could chump with one of these. Fully commit to trying to go for the long game instead of finding removal for Earth Carver. My only removal that works is Ureni's rebuff. But if I find that, it is lethal. Oh, Ugin works too. Because I would trigger the Stormbrood. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I hit for exact lethal if I top deck rebuff or Ugin. Which means that if I chump with a single bird, I no longer have lethal off of any of those draws. Final draw step. To try to get insta-lethal. Final draw step before I have to go full chump mode. Just flooded on this one. Alright, we're in chump mode now then. Which is quite a bummer. And they have the deal 5 to an attacker blocker. If they had that, then we couldn't have lethaled. Even if I did hit the thing in the bomb. Okay, they don't have that, they have something else. Oh, it's just a chump attack? Alright, well that counterspell is too late. Why did you show up after all this? It's like a triple chump kind of turn now. Okay. Single trump works too. I'm pretty happy with this attack. We were not in a good position to any attack here, so we would just be losing even more of our board if they sent in the Earth Carver. I couldn't afford to be trying to do any kind of crackbacks. It's definitely not the worst draw on the deck because we get 2 chumpers, but it's still chumping. I guess Rebuff is actually lethal again now, because I could cast it and I can harmonize it. So I could cast both halves of Rebuff and get rid of both their flying blockers. They can still give reach to one of the 2/2s with the renewability here. Yep. All right. Super rough draws on that one. We just flooded really hard too early, and that will be our first loss. 3-1, heading into game number 5. All right, here we are for game number 5. Perfectly reasonable start here. I would like to draw any dragon to behold with Sarkhan. Then I'd be super happy with the hand. The Dragonstorm Globe would also be better. No Dargans. Am I just dragon firing this thing? Mono green silver. I'm pretty happy I dragon fired that thing then. Dragonstorm Forecaster getting cast off of the Dragonstorm Globe again. Always fun. They have a Naturalize, blow up an artifact they could use on our globe. I feel like if they did, they probably would have done it. I get to flurry this turn? Okay, I didn't think it was going to matter that I'm not playing Sarkhan turn 2, because I was like, probably not going to be able to have some good aggro curve out, but this is pretty aggressive. Do they have a green removal spell that works without a creature on board? Oh, they do. Okay. Destroy a creature with flying, I see. I am looking like the biggest genius of all time right now. For just skipping and blowing up that devotee, though. Could play it full aggro and play the Stormbrood. But I like card advantage, so we can play this, hold up the counter, and then when we don't counter, get the card advantage off the Forecaster here. If I wanted to play like Stormbrood plus Appraiser, I could absolutely do that, just for maximum damage onto the board immediately. And there's definitely an argument for that while our opponent's stuck on mana, just trying to push in for as much damage as possible early. But I just like cards. allow me to draw many cards. Rakshasa's Bargain. Sure. I would have to do counter unless they pay 2. And if I do that, I don't activate the forecaster this turn. So I will just plan to counter whatever they draw off of this. Okay, back to greedy man mode where I want both my globes before I play my dragons. Another scenario where I could very well see it being better to play the 5 mana dragon this turn, but get my maximum dragon buffs. I have 1 mana up here, so I have counter unless they pay 1, which probably doesn't matter, but I do have it. If it does matter, it'll be insanely good. Apologies. My audio sounds so much quieter right now for some reason. Alright, well that's lucky. Kind of sucks to be our opponent this game. Oh shoot, I'm so dumb. I had the mana to just lethal them here. Oh, I can lethal them with this. It doesn't matter. I have a million ways to lethal them. Okay. I could have tutored for the 5 mana dragon and cast it. Because I did have 8 mana up, so I could spend 3, grab that dragon, 5, cast it. That is the most damage I can get that turn. Because that triggers both the Sarkhan and the Runescale Stormbrood. So the Sarkhan hits for an extra damage, the Stormbrood hits for 2 more. So they'd be at -2 instead of -1 if I did that. And I wouldn't have to have casted the Dragonfire. Either way, works out well for us. Our opponent just had really bad mana issues there. So we kind of got a free win, so that is kind of 1 win and 1 loss just to land draws there. We'll take it. We are 4-1 heading into game number 6. All right, here we are on the draw for game number 6. We've got a positive record with this draft no matter what at this point, which feels pretty great. We're just a weird little Jeskai Ugin control build. Luckily, our opponent, even though they're on the play, starts with a bunch of tap lands to where our counter spells get to play really well. Dispelling Exhale is counter unless they pay 4 for only 2 mana, so it's much more likely to be better on future turns than Spectral Denial. Because we're not a deck that really has a bunch of big creatures to reduce this denial's cost. I am 1 mana off from where I want to be, which would be picking up the globe and casting it in the same turn. If they play the 5 mana haste dragon, I will be the world's happiest drafter for a turn here. Then I get to exile that and pick up the globe. Alright, we're going full greed mode again. I am not Playing Boulderborn Dragon until I'm getting 2 counters on it. Our opponent's on full Mardu, but this has been a really slow start from them. I mean, we had the cheap interaction, but they didn't have a 2-drop. They just had a 3 and then a 4, and then that's it. Like, they might have removal in their hand. If they do, they probably should have killed Forecaster before I used it. But that's one of the only things that makes sense with them still not casting anything at this point. So I'm going to assume their hand is mostly removal. But it's not instant speed removal, at least. Is their hand just like 6 drops in Mardu? It's possible. There's Mardu Devotee, Scry 2. It could just be like lands and 6 drops over there. Okay, they do have a Channel Dragon. That makes a ton of sense. A removal spell that can't kill the Forecaster. It could be like that, right? Like, it could be Channel Dragon's Fire, and then, like, Osseous Exhale as well, which is just really awkward for them. I rebuke thee, Satan. Really didn't have to rebuke that. But I felt it was fine to. They need 3 or more attacking creatures before I care about this blade. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have rebuked just yet. Okay, this I should rebuke because it has reach. We're in a really excellent spot if they can't kill this Boulderborn Dragon. Like, our deck can just control them out from now on. All the kind of dirtily Mardu threats are easily just 1-for-1 killable. Outside of the great rares, there's a Sonic Shrieker. Sonic Shrieker at uncommon would be really bad too. It's a 4/4 flyer. They can shoot us for 2 and make us discard a card the second they play it. That would be pretty good for our opponent. I do have a creature engrave. Pick up counter unless they pay 4 here. I could see an argument for the X mana counter spell. But counter unless they pay 4 should counter pretty much anything at this point. And it's only 2 mana, so I get to hold up my other stuff or cast other spells in the same turn a lot more easily. Either way, plays out really well for us. We're at 5 wins now, 5-1, heading into game number 7. All right, here's another Ugin game. We'll see how it plays out for us. We've got a little bit of ramp guaranteed. Maybe all the ramp if the Forecaster remains here. But we don't have a lot of interaction. I have 1 Spectral Denial, and I have to hope that that buys me the time to get to my 7 mana. Now, it is going to be turn 5 that I'll be able to cast this Ugin instead of turn 7, which is pretty insane. But if it has, like, no protection, it'll still be problematic. This could be dumb. I'm just going to counter this. With no other interaction in the hand, that's going to keep hitting past the Forecaster. Okay. Alright, well, we're no longer on speedrun Ugin, because I just drew a great 3-drop. We will get to Ugin when we get there, and if it's long enough to where I still have a globe in my hand, Then I can cast it as removal. Alright, Night Watch, Caustic Exhale. That is very good with Dragonstorm Globe. Can't double spell this turn. I think I'm just gonna forecast. Because I can't tutor out another Globe and play this one this turn anyway. And I have a really high incentive for double spelling. A really large incentive. I don't think I've played these first turns outright. Alright, that's fine. Draw land, we get to double Globe. I can also Globe and tutor now. That way, whenever I draw my next land, I can Ugin plus and Globe in the same turn and double exile later. I'm kind of into that. In fact, I'm very into that. The more impressive their cards on board are to exile, the more impressive Ugin is. So I can wait. I do wish I had a dragon for Caustic Exhale, that would be great. Pretty happy they removed this Forecaster because this is the last time I could get any value out of it anyway. So they've just killed a 0/3, and that's it. Oh wait, I do have the dragon for Caustic Exhale, because I tutor it out. I'm dumb. So this is a super efficient, super good turn. Although, I don't want to Caustic Exhale that if I'm just going to end up resolving Ugin this next turn, but I'm not going to end up resolving Ugin this turn unless I top deck a land. So now that they're making that a 4/4, and I can also kill the Death Gorger, this is a huge 2-for-1. Yeah, this has got to be worth it. Because the Death Gorger goes to grave too? Yeah. Disgusting. Okay, I did hit the Ugin mana. Which can't exile anything right now, so we just play the dragon. So things would have worked out really fine either way there. Because we hit the Ugin mana, we would have been fine to kill it later, but by killing it right then, we also countered the card draw and got a pretty clean 2-for-1. Okay, this is probably the most boring permanent that I could possibly exile, but with an additional Globe in hand for later, and the fact that Ugin draws me an extra card each turn, I'm gonna do the thing. Find Stormbrood. Yep, I'll draw a Stormbrood.
My plan bears fruit.
Tubble. Goodbye, Tubble. You got Snakeskin Veil? Goodbye, Devil. Let's surveil, then draw, then probably cast Stormbrood. Yeah, I'm gonna go for damage here. Wrap this game up nice and quick. I got more than enough card advantage off Ugin alone. I don't need to be drawing appraiser cards right now. Oh, double Dragonstorm. Slows us down a little bit with some life gain. Pick up an Osseous Exhale just in case. Surveil a mountain to the grave. See what's next here. Narset's Rebuke. Yeah, we are so safe. The biggest risk here, honestly, is them having a board wipe for these threats and then milling out over time. But I still have a couple more. I've got a Runescale Stormbrood, a Sarkhan, and a Kishla Trawlers. And sure, the Sarkhan and the Kishla Trawlers are like a 2-2 and a 3-3, but I have so much removal I can try to kill them with a 2-2 and a 3-3. By just killing everything they do. I should wait till my turn, then I can Rebuke, get the buff, and get the insta-kill this turn. By buffing Stormbrood. Alright. Ugin takes another soul, and we are 6-1. We've got such a positive record now that no matter what, we are in the money out of this quick draft. And that's kind of hard to do in quick draft. It's a very low entry fee, but that also means that the prize out's pretty low. You're not like super in the money until 6 wins, where you get all 750 gems back, as well as an additional 100 and another pack. And the reason is because you get all the packs worth of stuff, no matter how well you do. So yeah, even at 5 wins is like technically sort of the break-even point, right? You're getting like 4 packs of value, plus 650 gems. So if you value every rare that you draft at like 20 gems a rare, you're basically breaking even at 5. But if the only thing you care about is the gems for more drafts, you have to get at least 6 wins to be in the money in quick draft, and we got there. So really, really good stuff from this deck. Honestly, better than I was expecting. I mean, Ugin's insane. We were going to win most of the games that we hit Ugin with, but we've won like 3 games, I think, without Ugin at all, which I wasn't really expecting. I think this deck is really, really, really low on ways to actually end the game, as we've seen in some previous ones, but it's been more than enough with just the insane amount of interaction that we have. So here we are now in the final boss here. If we can win this game, then we're done with the draft. But we've got 2 shots at it if we do fail to win this time. Sarkhan into Stormbrood's kind of nice. If I hit another untapped land, which I have, we actually get to turn 3 Stormbrood here, which is kind of a sick curve out with a Sarkhan. We are playing against a white deck. White-black, pretty aggressive colors. Could be scary for us, but we're definitely the aggressor the way this game's shaping up. We're on the play, and Sarkhan gave us the treasure to curve into the Stormbrood, get the extra Sarkhan damage in. Pretty gross start. I've got a double spell turn later to trigger the Stormbrood for extra damage. They are Mardu. They're supposed to be the aggressive deck. There's the reigning victor. I do not have the 5-mana removal to kill that yet. The Dragonfire does not quite do it, so we just poke them in the sky. For now, I think Sarkhan is valuable enough to not just trade into this this victor. But I will have a really sick Rebuke turn next turn. Rebuke plus Dragonfire, double trigger Stormbrood, that's a ton of damage. And I can make sure it's still around thanks to the Spectral Denial here. Counterless, they pay 2. Their hand would have to be pretty incredible for them to declare an attack here. Okay, bold moves from opponent. They are going for it. You got it. Big, bada, boom. Essentially dragon firing their face for 4 here. And now they're down to 4 life. I actually should have Evolving Wilds for a red here so that I could flash this Dragonfire back. That could come back to haunt me, but it doesn't. They're just dead. They scoop them up, and that is 7-1 for our quick draft run today. Really, really nice stuff from this deck. And part of what's really cool about this set, we've had, 7-0 drafts with really aggressive, like Boros sort of builds. Those are a lot less frequent than the big splashy crazy multicolored stuff, but these just really slow splashy 4-color decks can even win if you just have enough interaction, tons of removal spells and counter spells and stuff to really play the controlling role here, where we're winning by accruing a bunch of card advantage off of cards like Forecaster got us some wins, playing just some good dragons after we got all the globes with the Forecasters to be up in cards. And then, of course, Ugin got us most of those wins, but we were getting wins with just uncommon card advantage value with globes into dragons as our finishers and just a super high removal, super high interaction deck. So very, very cool stuff. Definitely some slightly unique to Tarkir Dragonstorm stuff going on here with the whole Dragonstorm Forecaster combo. That was a lot of fun. And then, of course, gigantic colorless mythic rare bombs are gigantic colorless mythic rare bombs. I mean, that was obviously going to carry this deck to like 3-3 or 4-3, even if the deck was completely horrible, because we could still probably win any game that we drew the Ugin. So super, super sweet run for the 7-1 today. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and you're interested in seeing some more like it, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more new recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. And other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.